Welcome to the Pintastic Podcast, a podcast about growing profitability the right way with sustainable systems so you can be found first without tantrums over tech and trading sleep for success. Prepare yourself for mind-blowing discussions and actionable tips focused on Pinterest strategies, funnel marketing, and everything in between with your host, Laura Rike. So let's make Pinterest profitable for you.
I am so excited for another episode of the Pintastic podcast. Today, we are going to be diving into all things about repurposing content that you already have on other platforms, and we're going to touch a little bit on ads as well. So, I have an amazing guest who is going to be talking about their new brand and bringing in brand awareness. And their brand is Raising Little Millionaires. So, I will let her take it from here and introduce you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Holthaus, founder of Raising Little Millionaires. Give you a quick background and kind of on what we do and where we came from. Growing up, I never really learned much about money, and I really paid for that into my 30s. Made every money mistake in the book. I had a lot of negative money habits and mindsets internalized. I was pulling myself out of debt, from student loans and consumer debt into adulthood, and really had to dive in and teach myself about personal finance and unlearn a lot of bad habits and relearn a lot of new good ones to move myself and my family into a better place financially. And so whenever I had kids, I knew that I wanted something different for them. And also, I have 15 years of experience with curriculum writing and management. I have a master's in early childhood education, was licensed in early childhood. And so I thought, if anyone in the world can break down personal finance curriculum and teach it to young kids, like it should be me, or it should be easier for me than the average person. But then once I had kids, I could barely find time to shower and nonetheless figure out how to teach them lessons. And so I knew busy parents couldn't do that as well. So I started to scour the personal finance community and really try to figure out how to teach my kids about money. And I found a lot of the same types of things, right? Dollar for dollar match their first car, employ them in your business, open a Roth IRA, and all things that are great, but one, require money. Two, are kind of better suited for older kids. And three, it wasn't really what I was looking for. I wanted to figure out how to teach my kids positive money habits and have a positive orientation to money growing up and feel empowered with how to use it, whether they had a dollar to their name when they left my house or not. So
Mm.
when I wrote the ebook originally, I wrote it for myself. Just as a busy parent, I was like, this is what I know that kids can understand. I've broken it down. This is what I know that I can manage. And then over time, it blossomed into something that we wanted to share with the world. And so we're very new. We just launched a few weeks back, but we really focus on teaching busy parents how to raise money smart and financially empowered kids through easy things you're probably already doing, like how do you do piggy banks better, right? How do you manage allowances? How do you introduce the stock market with very little money and in less than 2 minutes to your child? And so our main focus is just building an online community of parents who can support each other through figuring out this journey and, to really create content that's accessible for parents to implement immediately. So that's a little bit about us.
I love that. Mom here who quickly showered about 2 hours ago before the podcast recording. So I
Mhm.
totally understand busy mom movement. And this is something that actually I have a teenager, and then I also have a 3-year-old and an 8-year-old. And so to have a different span into each window of age group, really, right? Like preschool, elementary school, and high school.
Mhm.
It's been very interesting because it isn't a topic that is widely talked about unless they are at that high school age group, is what we're finding, right? And now he's in school and talking about different things in school, and we're trying to support that. So it's really, really awesome that you guys have started this. I'm super excited to be able to help you guys understand how to bring in more brand awareness utilizing Pinterest as well. So, are you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
All right. So I gave a little sneak preview here of your guys' website. And I love that we have this started already, which is great. What we're going to be talking about mainly today is going to be this account and how to be able to repurpose a lot of what you do here onto Pinterest. So, the biggest thing as a whole is Pinterest is a visual search platform. So, while some of these probably do amazing, which you can see on Instagram, we want to make sure that translates over to Pinterest. So Pinterest has the ability to be able to claim your Instagram account on it, which is great. However, I'm going to show my account because what happens is when you claim it, they'll give you the option to auto publish on the Pinterest account. And I always tell my coaching clients and my course students not to do that. The reason being is because when we have this auto publish to the account, it sticks with this image as the first image. So now if we look at this video, how to start teaching your kids now about retirement savings, that's probably a really good cover image that can be visually searched for retirement savings, teaching kids, like all those different keywords. If we go to a different one, right, and we're talking about like the electric scooter, because Santa has a budget too, that might not be as highly searched, but the information is still super valuable. So the biggest thing that I talk about is let's go in and first start with keyword research. So like what is one of the biggest things that you want people to understand and that you teach about when it comes to the content you're putting on your website, on your socials, things like that?
Yeah, I think the biggest keywords I would think immediately would be like teach kids money, right? Things of that nature. Allowance is another one we get a lot of big questions around. So I would love for people searching about allowances or managing that, financial literacy for kids, things of that nature. But probably teaching kids money is what I imagine people would search.
Yeah. And so you can do all of these, right? So here, right here, teach kids money.
Mhm.
We have money management, learning about money, how to manage their money, save money, the value of it. All of these are top searches right now on the platform for this phrase, right? So, how to teach kids about saving money is a phrase that is highly searched on the platform right now. And so you can click on this, and then you can see underneath there all of the different pins that pull up and the type of content that they're sharing, right? So the best tips for teaching kids to save money. Like this is right up your alley in the content that you are able to share as well. Like financially intelligent is another word.
Mhm.
And so we can also go into like kids and money, right? So we can just type in kids and money, kids and money management, trackers, savings challenge, printables. So you can keep going down this route and find other ways that people are searching for financial help with teaching kids. Like here's that one pin again, right? Teach your kids to be financially intelligent. So that might be a good pin to start thinking about like, oh, I can talk about that. I have this reel about that. I have X, Y, and Z about that, right? And so this helps us with one way of finding keywords. And then the other way is when we keep scrolling down, it will also give us related searches. And so this related searches section is Pinterest telling you these are things that you want to also be putting on your pins as keywords, right? Money activities for kids, money management activities, teaching money. And so teaching money still goes around the kids, right?
Mhm.
Look at booklets, games. This is another pin that had pulled up when we had Teach Kids Money. So all of these are going to be in the same arena and where you want to rank so that you can be able to help people figure out ways to better serve your content and then better serve their kid. Now, let's take it one step further, right? So I'm going to go in here. This is an awesome reel. I love it. People on Instagram love it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, now you could start with this. We could go in here and we could say either teaching money, we could say kids retirement and see if that pulls up. And so now see how these tiles are gone up here at the top. When we've searched before, there were tiles up here. This really means like the end of Pinterest. There's no tiles. And so this is very, very niche. So even if I go back to kids retirement, now we have different things here. So instead of kids retirement plan, I would probably focus on kids retirement so that you can get into an arena that has more search volume. Then what we can do is we're going to take this URL and I'm going to copy this for your Instagram reel. And then I'm going to open up handy dandy Canva. Do you have a Canva account or Monkey?
Canva Pro. We live by it over here.
I love it. Awesome. Okay, so you can also find templates online. There's tons of different templates that I have that, I mean, there's everything on here, right? And so those are different things. You can purchase templates in terms of Pinterest templates. You can also find ones that are maybe specific to your niche out there online, but you can also start in Canva and just click create design. And so Pinterest has specific design sizes. Now, Canva provides a design size 1,000 by 1,500. That is perfect. That is the typical size that we see. We also, with our management services, have tested doing 1,200 by 1,500. We'll do 1,000 by 2,100. So you get a little bit longer. It really has shown worthy and helpful for specific niches. So that is something that you will just have to test over time. If it is something that you find, you can always go to custom size. And then you can see like here we did 15 by 1,200, 1,000 by 2,100. And so it just gives it a little bit more room. Doing a reel and repurposing a reel, I would say we would probably want to stick with the regular size for a Pinterest pin, just because we want to focus on having it look similar when this blip shows up and then the reel starts playing. We don't want it to go from big to small and look funny. So another thing we could do is kids money in here, right? And so then you get these fun templates. Anything that's in here that, makes it stand out, things like that. And we'll just pick a fun one for now. And then typically what we do is I will upload a second page and put the video here. Okay. So the reason I'm doing this is because then I want to go back to Pinterest with a fun design that can then show what we call a visual search image. And so if I go back here and we're looking at, let's say we go back to the money, like teaching money, right? So here's a really fun one that stands out. Here's another one that's fun that stands out. We can pick any of these that are in the top and click on it. And down at the bottom here, there's something really cool that they provide, whether you're logged in or logged out, which they call visual search. There sometimes is a little word next to it that says explore. But basically, this is going to give you the ability to see how Pinterest is putting your pin amongst other pins. And so if you look, all of these are about teaching money skills. So that means it is understanding where to put your pin. It knows who to serve it to, what keyword you're trying to rank for. The other cool thing is when you're logged out of Pinterest, so you can see up here at the top, I'm not logged in, you'll get these little buttons down here. these are actually really good keywords to be able to use for your pins as well. Because this we saw ranked really well with the visual search and where it was putting it. These keywords are what is being attached by the Pinterest computer algorithm to this pin. And so if it's already ranking really well, right, at the top of searches, and it's being shown in the right area, then these are other keywords that we're probably going to want to be using, right? And so you can go in here and you can search and just click on them, and they'll open up different pins. When we click on it, it will open up a tab like this, and then you can see teaching money and everything that kind of shows up under teaching money, and then also different interests like we find before when we're searching. So that's really cool to know, because now I want to take this teaching money and go back to my design and say, maybe I want to play off of it. And we're talking about how to start teaching your kids now about retirement savings. So maybe I want to say how to start, and I'm just going to do this fast and loose, y'all. And then we're going to put our keyword here, teaching money. Ready, go, slow. There we go. To my kids. And now you have the keyword that Pinterest is going to understand. And you have a graphic. And then what you can do is upload the video. So then say I had your video in here, right? I could go here and I could go videos right here. And then we could just plop it right here. And now this is going to be the first image that shows up when I upload it to my video. So say that was your video. Then I could export this, and I want all 2 pages in an MP4 video and download it. And then when that's done downloading, I'll show you how you can quickly choose the cover image to be able to have that searchable. So I'm going to wait for a second while that finishes rendering, because we got to give the internet a little time.
Right.
But how is that sitting with you? How does that feel? Does it make sense in terms of keywords and why we have to do that extra step to create that cover image and all that kind of stuff when repurposing?
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. I think even just understanding more about like how to see what keywords like are performing on the platform is really helpful, because I feel like most of the time I'm just like thinking it up out of my head or, you know,
Yeah.
using AI to try and generate it, but being able to see what's actually performing in real time on the website is helpful.
Yeah, and that's just one of the ways. We call that typically ABC search, because it will list it out with like an A, and then here's what's searched after that. So if you do teaching kids, and then it'll do anything for A's, anything for B's, and it gives you the top search results. You can also go into, and we can show this here in a second, the ad side of things. Even if you're not going to run ads, in the ads manager, you have the ability to search for keywords in there, and it will give you the search volumes as well, which is really cool, because then you can start to be like, oh, okay, this is more highly searched than this one. And maybe that's what we should try to focus on if a keyword starts to dive down, or you're looking for new ideas, things like that. The other side of things is if you go to trends.pinterest.com, that will also give you what is trending. And so I can show a quick look of that here. I'm going to share. So when you do that, it's the same as like if you're in your account and you go to trends.pinterest.com. This is an area where it will start giving you trends based on what you put in here. So this is just any trends that are growing right now. If we go in and we say like kids or education or like finance, right? We could say finance, and then we could say if we want to start trending or look for trends that might start coming up in February, Now we can start to look, okay, money strategy, how to get money, right? Personal finance. And then all you have to do is start adding on the kids side of things, because these are going to be keywords that people are looking for, but they might not know that money strategy can be related to kids as well. And so if you're talking about money strategy on your pin, and then also speak to the kids side of things on that pin, you can rank in a wider arena for people searching for money strategy, but also have previous searches of parenting, because then you're combining the two. So that's just another way to be able to kind of see based on keywords, based on what's trending, things like that. So our image did finish. So I'm going to go in here, and what we do is we're going to click create a pin. And then all we have to do is drag and drop or click, and the pin is right here, how to start. And now you see how my image is first, but it will switch to the video after.
Mhm.
What's really cool down here is you choose the cover image. So you see all these videos and all this movement, but it doesn't have my keywords on it, right? There's nothing in there. And this is my son's robotics, so there's that.
Looks fun.
It is. It's a good time. But what I want it to focus on is my keywords. And so then I choose that cover image. So when I click publish, this is the visual search that happens. So that is my biggest tip in terms of making sure that when we repurpose, we're focused on the content you already have, but also we need to make sure that we are telling the computer where we want to rank, right? And so I don't like saying algorithm, because we don't have all the changes like social does, right? And this is a visual search platform, not a social platform. And so I like to think about it as computer and user. How do we tell the computer what we want to rank for? And then how do we speak the love language of the user that's finding what the computer is serving? And once you put the two of them together, then it's like a match made in heaven, right? Because then they're going to find your content, the brand awareness is there, they're going to continue to consume, and then you can get people to sign up for your stuff, join your new launching course, like all the things from that. So, how's that feel?
Good. No, I love it. And thank you for breaking it down so much, because it's,
Yeah.
being a content creator was not on my life's bingo card. And so I'm really like learning all the different platforms as we go. My personal social was actually pretty limited even before launching into this venture. And so even, just being able to build a base of knowledge of like what works and how the different platforms work is so helpful as we continue thinking about how to grow this.
Yeah, amazing. Awesome. Let's take a little bit of this knowledge and we'll take a quick second. We're not going to dive too deep into it during this episode, but let's dive into the ad side of things. So I know you had talked about before, you're trying to build brand awareness, but you have heard about Pinterest ads possibly being more expensive, not sure about targeting and things like that. So why don't you kind of give me that synopsis, like what you're feeling in terms of Pinterest ads, what your thoughts would be, what you would love to run to for ads and things like that. And then we can kind of tackle a few of them here.
Yeah. And honestly, like I'm talking from a very limited base of knowledge, like about this
Totally
industry,
okay.
and I feel like I understand ads more on other platforms a little bit because we've started to play around. We are a newer business, but we are reinvesting all of the revenue that we get into, rolling out more of our products over time. The online community, that community feel is the most important, but we will be in the future launching an online course, possibly workbooks for older children. And so, you know, there's organic ads, right? Where it's just like, how do I make the content of this pin or of this post like drive, or sell people on, what we've got. And then there's the actual paid ad accounts. Chatted with, someone about this, and it just the numbers that were shared seemed like they were more expensive, but also seemed like it was more impactful. But truly, I have little to no knowledge base about this. So you know a lot better than I do.
No, and that's totally fine. I love understanding like kind of where you're coming from and things like that because then it can help decide like what we need to educate you on, how to be able to help serve you better in that regard. One of the follow-up questions that I have for you is with building this brand right now, I see that on the website you have the ebook that is $9.99. You have different products that I'm assuming you affiliate for
Mhm.
that is on your site as well, which is amazing. Do you have your own blog content? Do you have your own like email list lead magnet? I know you have a newsletter sign up on there. Like what kind of things like that do you guys have? Are they in development?
Yeah, we've got a lot in development. We have kind of an email funnel coming down, and then we will likely roll out some type of like free resource that could be downloaded that will help improve our email list or some type of community where we'll solicit that. But right now, our main focus has been really just growing the following and growing the brand awareness and identity and building trust with people.
Yeah.
And then we are coming into kind of quarter 1 of next year, ideally rolling out our online course, merchandise, and then building a better funnel for our email list so that we can kind of better advertise some of those
Yeah.
launches. But yeah, I mean, also too, doing this type of thing is also very new to me. So we're kind of like learning along the way. But yes, a lot of that infrastructure is in development.
Awesome. So, one of the biggest things that I like to decipher for people is when thinking about Pinterest, if you have other content online, then definitely get the foundations and start with a profile, boards, and some pins organically first before running ads. Because there's a saying that you can actually earn credit on ads, meaning when you run an ad, if you stop that ad, that pin still can organically live on. When you are running that ad, you can see earned pin clicks, earned saves, things like that. And so you can earn those even after. And earning doesn't mean like gifting or anything like that. It just means you're also organically ranking while doing the ads at the same time. So it's being able to hit two different sides of things at the same point. So that is one of my things that I love to make very clear for people is like you don't have to have been pinning for years, but make sure that you have that foundation again for the computer and again for the longevity of your account because Pinterest is a longer shelf life than any social platform will provide for you.
Mm,
So that is one thing to note. The other thing to note is if you are still in development of blog posts or things like that, and you have like one main link, like your ebook, right? Then you're probably going to be better suited once you repurpose a couple things, get a couple pins out there for ads, because on Pinterest, you can share that one URL every couple days, but you cannot share it back to back every day, multiple times a day, things like you can on social.
mm,
And so being able to have that one URL and run ads to it, then you have against, oh, I'm sharing this too many times because you're putting the money behind it, right?
mm, mm,
So there are a couple different things with ads. I will get back into sharing my screen and kind of show you the back end side of things. So, if you were going to consider running ads in terms of the ebook, one of the things that I would definitely suggest doing is looking at more of the psychographics of the individuals, right? And so you can see this in your account once you do get some people coming to the account and things like that. You can also upload email lists that you may have or purchase lists that you may have. So, like, I have an email subscriber list, and it will then tell me, well, it's old from 2020. So, I will need to update that, but it will then tell me categories and interests. So, now if I go to my engaged list, right? Because I am B2B and B2C, you can see the category that's the highest for me right now is finance. The interests underneath that are financial planning, banking, and real estate. So I may talk about marketing, but the individuals that I'm talking to, their psychographics and their interests and their searches revolve around finance.
Mm.
And so it may be because they're doing business finance planning. It may be because it's the beginning of the new year. This will fluctuate because it's going based on the last 30 days. And so it's going to be very important to continually check on this and make sure that you understand like the actual psychographics. We're not looking at just the age. We're not looking at just what their interests are. This is based off of searches. So they're searching for things in gardening. They're searching for things in electronics. And then we can go down and look at, okay, this is the age group, right? And so mine is 25, 34, 35, 44, and then 55 plus. The other side of things is the female versus male, and then looking at what device. I don't typically really pay attention to the location, right? Because like I can be US, worldwide, it's online, but looking at the devices can also help. So when you're going in to create an ad account, right now in this moment, I will tell you my biggest thing is do not do performance plus. I think over time they can be helpful. In this moment right now, I prefer to keep them off because as a mom, I can be a control freak and I really like to know what is working, what is not working, and how I can improve it, not how the computer can improve it. And so they are rolling out this to be able to help people that don't want to manage their ads and look at the finer things so that they're basically helping pick who to target and how to refine that targeting. Again, I like to be able to understand that on my own because I feel like I can help create that targeting better. So, that is one of the things with this. The second thing with this is you can choose to skip all of this if you wanted to go into keyword research. And so you can go straight from the campaign to the ad group and click on find new customers here. And when you do that, it opens up this area for interests and keywords. And so we can click on this, and then this is the same interests that we were looking at in the trends report. But then we can also go to keywords and we can start typing in those same keywords and see what pulls up. So the difference is when we look at Pinterest organic, Teach Money is something that pulls up. And if I look up kids money, it's not going to pull up, right? And so we have to start finding what is going to be found under here. And so it could be financial planning instead of kids money. And so like money saving techniques, right? Then if we're going to use this as a keyword on the pin, we would want to focus on money saving techniques, but then also that's our opportunity to relate it back to kids. And so this is a way to kind of hit both sides of things. Because like we were talking about, it's going to be the psychographics. So if they're looking up money techniques, if they're looking up financial planning, right? And so we can do financial planning. I'll just do financial. Here, financial planning, right? If we look up something like that, it might not have the kids' piece in it, but they might not know to look up the kids' piece of it. They might be looking for resources for financial planning to learn better themselves how to help their kids. And so we need to be able to speak their love language by putting the two of them together. And so that's really an easy way to be able to do so with that. And then once we have all those, right, then we can go down and we can start choosing our demographics. And then we can start choosing if we want sign up, add to cart, or checkout. If you are going to your ebook, I would say focus on checkout. And then you can do your custom bidding. And then you can either choose to select pins that you already have uploaded on your account, or you can create the pin right in here. The other suggestion that I would say is please don't use add only pin. It is If you don't want it to specifically show organically and have it be a hidden thing, that could be great. But in my opinion,
Mm.
everything we do, we want organic and ad if we're
Right.
going to be doing ads.
Mhm.
So I want it to show up on the boards that I have present.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
how was all of that?
Good. No, really, really helpful. And once again, like we are really upstarting our Pinterest profile and really learning how to use the platform and building a lot of knowledge there. So seeing it all step by step is amazing. Lots of really
Awesome.
great pro tips. So thank you.
Yes, you're
Yeah.
more than welcome. So, I love to do this thing where I ask people because it's great to learn a lot of things, but it's the implementation side of things that I really want to make sure that we get across. Like, you could learn all the things in the world, but if you're not actually utilizing it,
Mhm.
then it's kind of wasted time. So, I have two questions for you.
Mhm.
Nothing too difficult, I promise.
Okay.
One, what may be one thing that you could implement today or tomorrow that you've been able to learn?
Yeah, I think just really understanding how to actually go through the process of repurposing content we've already made. I would love to just like catch up our Pinterest essentially. And like
Yeah.
we do have some higher performing, reels. We have things that are coming close to 5,000 views that have been shared a ton of times. So I would love to
Oh,
even just prioritize our highest performing, but then really ideally get everything sort of caught up.
yeah,
And then I guess the second thing would just be I time block out for myself, like when to make content and just making sure that I'm like adding in creating content for Pinterest like into that time as well.
I love that. Yeah. So in my results program, we try to help people with that like 1 hour a week. Get it
Mhm.
done in 1 hour a week, schedule it out for the whole week, and then be done. So time blocking will definitely be really helpful for you in that regard. I love that you gave me two things, by the way. That's awesome. Okay, and then my last question for you is a little bit more on the personal side and business side. So, if you had to choose one thing that would keep you from hitting your goal of getting Pinterest caught up, implementing Pinterest and keeping consistent with it, typically we have three things as business owners that keep us from hitting our goals: time, money, or understanding. So if you had to pick one of those three things, what do you think right now it would be?
Probably understanding. Mhm.
Yeah, and learning more about it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I feel like because I feel like understanding more makes the time side of it more efficient, and
Yeah,
so I feel like right now, maybe a little bit of time, but that will become better as creating the content and optimizing it for Pinterest becomes more systematic for me, and then if I can get it,
yeah.
into a lower time, need then. So really, I think understanding would help me with everything else.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here on the podcast with all our fun kids and tech and everything. We did it.
Woo.
And I so appreciate you allowing me to be able to take the time to go through your business and repurposing and everything for Pinterest. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on and taking the time to share your wisdom with me and showing me everything. So appreciate it.
Thanks so much for listening to the Pintastic Podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and review on wherever you listen to your podcasts. We really appreciate that effort. Until next time.